Folks, this is a travel edition here. Sorry, I'm gonna take my hand off the trying to position this right so I don't kill myself. Any which way, folks. Quite, podcast topic for today. Stop wasting time. Stop wasting time in your life. It's my thoughts as I travel around coast to coast. I thought of this because I thought of my kids. Um, a lot of times when my kids are doing their routine, getting ready for school in the morning time, they get these periods where they kind of lollygag, they mess around, they delay. They're not, getting their stuff done. Usually in the morning time routine, I wake them up, have my daughter do her own hair, wrap her hair up, put her deodorant on. And, I notice with kids, they're not very like busy bee. They don't get stuff done, with that sense of accuracy. They tend to, you have to come on, tell them what to do. Come on, let's go get this done, get that done. Come on, let's do this. And you're kind of prompting them to kind of pick up the pace, right? But I know as adults, we kind of do the same thing. And what I told my kids, I said to them, I said, all the amount of time that I spend telling you to pick it up, come on, hurry up, move. That little time wasting, that adds up to something. Those, I call them micro minutes. It's when you're supposed to do something. Let's just give an example. Say you're brushing your teeth. Now, American dentistry says you should be brushing your teeth for 2 to 5 minutes. We know most people, if you've ever talked to someone at a bar or a club, they probably don't brush their teeth, probably a minute, But even in that let's give that 2 minutes, there are people, the process, it could take them 10 to finish brushing their teeth, but they still spend 1 minute actually brushing their teeth. So again, they're wasting time. That 9 minutes of text message. Sorry, folks. That 9 minutes of time wasted that's just in the beginning part of your day. Then you're checking your social media. You're not moving along and getting things done. Well, what happens over time in the course of 24 hours is that you start to quantify or add up how much time you've wasted. And I've told my kids that, they're 8 and 6. You would say, yeah, they're probably too young to learn that. And I would say I beg to differ. I don't think they're too young to learn that lesson, because what age, a lot of times people start acting like, kids are just going to start getting, or you can just teach a kid something, at 14 and they're just going to go get it. That's not how it happens. Children learn in a process. They're exposed to a certain concept. Then after that, they may not understand the concept they're being exposed to, and after a while, they interact or engage with the concept more hands-on. They get explained things, and then over time, through experience, they learn to master the concept in its in totality. So and again, getting them to understand how much time they waste is a process. Because a lot of times people just feel like, you're a ready-made adult. You just come out and it's like, oh yeah, hey, we're good. I come out already fully made. And it's like, we don't come out that way. Even many adults right now are still on arrested development. They're not fully ready yet. They're not mature yet. The turkey needs to still be in and it's not done. So when I'm saying this is that I tell my kids all the time, those microseconds that y'all spend wasting time, you're losing minutes to be productive in a day. There's an instance where the other day, it was time to get ready to go to school, and my daughter's not done everything that's required to do in her morning routine. So I'm like, and this happens because you're wasting so many times. It's 5 minutes of time that you spent, kind of staring off into the void, trying to figure out if you're alive or dead, on the planet or not, questioning your existence at 8 years old. And guess what? You wasted that time where you would have had time now to finish up vacuuming. Yes, my kids do vacuuming in the morning time. And it's like, now the time catches up to you and you're rushing. And that now you're scrambling trying to get time. Thought about it, and I said, do we do this in life? Doesn't learn this lesson now, will she go on in life and do this in her teens? Then she'll go on and do it as a 20-year-old, then she'll do it as a 30-year-old, and you mismanage your time where 9 minutes or 10 minutes or even an hour now becomes a year. Years of things not being done in your life. Not that you don't have your youth to kind of play around with that, and I would say waste time. You can waste time or figure things out, but again, things need to be moving in a process that you can build upon and learn from your experiences. But a lot of people are just wasting time. They'll be able to do it later, and life catches up. And then later on in life, you don't have the ability to get back your youth. Now you're done. I asked that question. One of the situations I got into is I'm going up to the rental car place, and I just figured out, the guy tells me, this just happened today, a couple hours ago, I'm using a rental car, and a guy tells me, he says, hey man, your license is expired. I'm like, what? My license is expired? How's my license expired? And my license expired on the 3rd of this month, this March 3rd. I turned 42. Now I'm a little bit older now. If I was in my 20s, I would be like, man, what am I to do? And I just thought about it. He says, well, if you can get a temporary license. He said, you probably know what did he say? He said to the lady, he said, hey, if he probably hasn't even started the renewal process for a temporary license, which prompted me through experience, through age, through wisdom, to say, oh, you know what? Maybe I should just go go online and get the temporary license right now. You know what I mean? And I sure enough did it. And in about 20 minutes, I was out of there. Temporary license, emailed it to him, PDF, done. I called my wife. She's like, no, I can send my mother-in-law, come down and come get you, blah, blah, blah. And it's done and it's handled. I continue on my journey. But that's come from the mindset of you find solutions to problems. Once he said that, I said, oh, you guys will take a temporary license. No problem. Let me go ahead and go do that. Renew right online and see if I can get it. Got it done. It wasted 20 minutes of time for me to get that done. And again, it was something that it just slipped my mind. How often does your license expire? You think about renewal. This is a 4-year, time frame. It just wasn't even in my mind. I mean, I don't really take out my license to even look at it or do much with it where I'm even going to need it. But in this case, it came up, and hey, I got the new one on the way. It was a blessing in disguise, because I would have never known. Probably be much further. I'd be driving around with expired license. You know what I mean? And I have my temporary license right now, so it actually was a great thing that happened. But again, using my mind to understand, hey, let me get this done and not waste more time being stuck on the panic button. That's something that comes with maturity and experience. But what was I doing? I was problem solving in my youth. At 42, I learned today. And again, I was like, man, what am I going to do? My mind's racing over, how am I going to this rental car? I need a rental car right now. I don't want to be stuck where I'm at. How am I going to get to work and stuff like that? And sure enough, my mind thinking helped me to get there. You know what I mean? And that's something that it's a lesson learned that anyone can take away. And I've learned that in nursing. If situations happen, and what you do is you panic. Right away you panic. Your mind doesn't switch. It doesn't stay in a state of calm where you can analyze and say, okay, hey, how do I come up with a solution to this problem right now? And most of the time we panic like we're in a life or death situation, and 9 times out of 10, that's not the case. We're not in life and death situations, but our mind races to the panic button, and we stop thinking. And it's like with my kids, sometimes I put them all under manufactured pressure. And what I mean by manufactured pressure means I create a sense of emergency where there is none, where they have to operate and get things done within a time, an artificial time that I set for them to get something accomplished by. And that's, they have to be exposed to pressure. Nowadays parenting is, don't stress your kids, give them this Disneyland fairy tale. That's not a reality-based system that we live in life. It's not reality-based at all. Life is hard. I tell people all the time, you think life's supposed to be easy, rainbows and sunshines? Look at nature. Look to nature to learn about the truth about life, and you'll find out. Because animals, nature's plant, it's hard. It's hard all around. Yeah, I know. I hate these newer cars, man. These newer cars tell you how to drive. Like, you can't see it. You're a sensor. I'm the human. Thank you. I'll let you know. Some of the cars I rent cars, every so often. It's like the car's telling me to slow down. Like, I'm the human, you're the computer. You shut up and let me drive. You know what I mean? I don't need you micromanaging my driving skills unless I'm getting into an accident. Any which way. But I put them under that pressure, and I'm like, what are they going to do in real life when life brings you the pressure? And I tell them all the time, I was like, you can't be afraid to hurt. You can't be afraid to go to experience pain in life. And you always want to run away from it. Not that life should be painful, but life, the component of living is suffering. It is a component. And nobody wants to hurt. Nobody wants to go through hard times right now. Even in my business, there is a contraction. And again, like I've hired a person to come in and replace different areas, and we're going to keep pushing forward. Companies are cutting back, making large cuts out on thousands of workers. But, again, it's the leading in the base mindset. And I'm not saying you should make certain budgetary restraints. But again, what I'm saying is that you can't grow if you're trying to always contract. You can't grow when everything is closed. I talked to my wife, another person, and she's like, well, don't you think that's, because we're not selling land like we used to. And I was like, it's slow. It's not that we're not getting any sales. Slow and dead are two different things. Slow means you got to work for it, but you can't always think that it's going to be the, milk and honey. Everything's just going to be where you can it'll drop right into your hand. Sometimes you got to labor again. You know what I mean? Sometimes you may just have nothing in sight, and you got to just wait for the flood to come. Give it time. But again, you got to let the process play out. But in the meantime, what are you doing? I'm going live. I'm doing other things in the business to grow other areas of the business while still maintaining our main sales point. Not just sitting back and saying, oh, well, I'll just wait and see. We're going to keep doing the same thing again. No, you got to start opening up new doors. You see those videos all the time about doing the uncomfortable things, but most of the time people don't do those things. People aren't working in doing the uncomfortable things. They like the fact that it's there to make them feel comfortable, and it makes them give a false sense of saying, well, I did do this one thing that's comfortable. Being uncomfortable means that you have a whole change process to whatever is the event in your life. It sounds good when you see it in a clip. It makes you feel empowered. But again, when you really look at it as action into one's life, people aren't doing that. And people 9 times out of 10 don't want to be uncomfortable in life. They don't want to hustle. They don't want to grind. They like saying grind because it makes it sound cool. It sounds cool when you say, yo, I'm grinding, I'm hustling, or whatever else. But again, sometimes when you're hustling, you got to hustle when the water's low. Not just when it's deep and you can get the fish out there. Sometimes your ribs got to touch. Not, my ribs ain't touching, not to say. But, sometimes you got to have your ribs touching. And that's part of the hustle, part of the grind. And I always tell in my lives, you got to enjoy the process, good or bad, because there's growth in that. You know what I mean? Same way with my driver's license. Like, this situation helped me to stay calm and find a solution in less than 20 minutes where, renewing a license, man, that would be a days to week process. And what I learned is that I've learned that I can continue on. That's the mind of a boss, man. You have things go down and you learn how to solve those problems. Because in my business, when things go down, the solutions have to come very quickly. They can't take 2, 3, 4 weeks. which means you got to have people around you that don't waste your time either. I'm going to turn around and other solutions. That's going to bring me to my next point. During my dinner with my marketing manager, Eric Kennedy, we're at Texas Roadhouse, we're drinks and having, steak and stuff like that. And again, it's like, sometimes do you have, haters within your midst? I know I did a video on haters, having anger towards everyone achieving. But again, what I'm saying is, do you have people in there? And I spoke to him about, getting haters in my life, people that hate on what you do when you're trying to be successful. And I think the time where you get to hate the most is not when you are successful, it's on your rise to success. Cat Williams always said that, if you can't be number one without having haters. You can't be successful without having people who are hating on you. Is that true? I don't know. It could be true. You could have, Cat Williams said that all the time. In order to be successful, you got to be haters. In order to be number one, you have to have a number two. There's someone that's got to challenge you in order for you to be number one. Is that true? Is it true? I believe so. But I think that what you're going to find is you're going to have people who are haters when you're getting up further in the mountain past the point where they believe how far you could go. And it's always the closest people to you. It's never the farthest people apart. Never. And that's the sad thing, is because those are the people that you look to give you strength along your way to achieve more. Those are the people that help you, that you look to give you energy to get further on to become successful. Because 9 times out of 10, you want to reach back and help them out once you become successful. But again, what they do is they sabotage that. Because really, their advice, their suggestions, their information, even their lack of support, although they support as many different things, but a lot of times their lack of, because they're trying to hide back hate, is mainly due to the fact, someone that is like, man, I want to go to the pros, right? You have a lot of people around you that even if you're super talented, they're going to be doubtful. And again, that's true for a large part, but again, sometimes people do make it in the face of all doubt. But I think what happens is those people are working and they have the labor of effort to show that, hey, I overcame this obstacle. It wasn't something that I just sat on my ass for and I had a qualified outcome. But again, you look to those people to say, hey, man, support me, support me, support me. Because they're the ones that make you feel like, man, I've got people behind me that, they give me strength. It's the winds at my back. And rarely you're going to get that. Rarely you're going to get that. You're going to want people to be proud of you, what you're achieving, becoming more successful. And it's not going to happen. They won't say, or they will say, or they'll somewhat say, oh, I'm happy for you. Some people won't talk to you. And I said, remember, my father told me something. He said, son, the road to success is lonely. And I think I don't know if that's all the way true, but I do one thing. It can be lonely. And that's only because most of the people don't want to take that route. But one thing it's narrow. It's fucking narrow. Who's being successful? But the path requires one person to get through at a time. So you can't take everybody with you. And I remember Eric telling me, he said, man, sometimes your blessings upset their demons. Most powerful shit I ever heard. Sometimes your blessings in life will hurt the person's demons. A person who has, I don't want to say, but, they're the things that are holding them back from being successful. Sometimes your blessings in life will agitate, irritate their demons inside of them. Because they can't do it. And it's very hard to conceptualize that. You're just like, man, you're on my team. If I'm successful, you're successful. But sometimes people just want to be right in the driver's seat. They don't want to be anywhere else. They want to be driver, the person who is successful, and we're trying to figure out whether you should let go or hold on to a person that you care about that really doesn't want to see you succeed, and at the same time does not want you to fail, which is a conundrum in itself. So you got two choices. You can either keep doing what you're doing, trying to please everybody. You can try to see if, maybe they'll change, or you could take your heading and keep on going. I have a saying that I've talked to my father, we had a discussion about, and I told him, I said, you know what? The train of what I'm going to do in life is going to leave, departs at 9, it has the stops on the hour, and then it departs again. If you either at the stop and get on the train, but if you don't, guess what? The train keeps on going. And that's how you got to be in life. You do. You got to be that way. Despite who's around, mom, kids, son, daughter, wife, grandparent, whatever else, you have to continue on your mission and not waste time. Because the same people that you're trying to bring along with you are the same ones when you don't succeed are going to be the ones that say, I knew you couldn't do it. They knows your failures, but few people know what you did to become successful. I think that's a true story. True statement there. Very true statement. I think that's going to hold true with most things, is that you're going to find most people will be affirmative in your failings in life than they are in present your success, or when you're striving to be successful. Always the case, 9 times out of 10. This is not our usual live with Uncle Phil. This is kind of a on the road, hitting streets, on the road with Uncle Phil, My thoughts as I go about my day, as I interact with the world and I see things. And I realize with being 42 now, you're getting older. When I look at getting older, is that you don't have much time to say tomorrow is going to come. That you get past the point in the mountain where, I'm at the peak of the mountain now, and the only thing on the other side is a downhill until you get to the end. And even on your way down, you don't know how far you have to go till you get to the bottom. And then it's over. No more climbing, no more mountains. That's it. You're one and done. This life is over. And you can't waste time. You can't. Try to teach my kids that. Stop wasting time. Get your stuff done. Get your business done. You want to play. A lot of people tend to put play first. Business second. I'll get to it later. On my flight, I fell asleep. Watched Black Adam, which was, mostly trash, by the way. My reaction to that movie, I watched it up, I fell asleep, watched some of it, fell asleep. And I'm still, my book chapters, everything's done. We're just, the compilation, we're going through the final edits now. It should be out in a few months. Later this year, I hope. But I started working on the book until my battery died. Went back and watched the movie because I don't want to take a 6-hour flight and not get something done. I didn't want to waste my time being unproductive. Black Adam was trash, man. I hear people, oh yeah, it's The Rock, and it was trash, straight trash. Not a great movie at all. I don't understand character motivations. Were not there. Very conflicting. Still, I watch it if you have nothing to do. It's not bad. I mean, honestly, I found The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise more interesting than I did Black Adam. It had more depth to it. That's just my opinion, folks. But again, I will say this, like, wasting time is going to be an issue. You do, and people say, well, I like to relax and this, and this. I get it. Yes, I know. Relaxing is important. But again, some people are professional relaxers. So they relax too much. T-O-O, much, too much. You're not spending any time actually doing the things that are going to propel and move them forward. Coulda, shoulda, wouldas, you know what I mean? And I think that's important to understand, man. Stop wasting time. A lot of people are wasting time in this world, and they're going to waste your time if you let them. They're going to waste your time, and you can't let them. A lot of people will tell you you shouldn't be doing the things you're doing, or make you feel as if they're not being supportive of you. But again, their support is not required for you to be successful. That's your job. That's your job. When you decide to take a path towards being successful, support is not required. It's beneficial, it's pleasant, but it is not required in order for you to be successful. If you are expecting support on the road to success, you're going to be greatly disappointed. And again, your kids may not be supporting you in this success. Your own children, your wife, your family, the people, your parents will not support you on your road to being successful. Look at these cops out here, man. I don't know what it is, man. I can't stand traffic police. I can't. Sitting over there with a laser trying to find out someone up there. And it's, you know, all the time when you see them, wherever they're at, it's not the place where, how can you be going downhill, right? I just went downhill. And a cop's there on when you're getting on the descent with a laser trying to catch you for speeding. You're going downhill. There's a certain amount of natural gravity that's going to be part of your speed. Even if you take your foot off the gas pedal going down here, your car will naturally speed up. It will not slow down going downhill. And they're at the bottom of the hill. Like, how? Any which way. Got a quota to make. You got to respect the hustle, man. You know, but I'm just sitting there like, why are you here trying to give somebody a ticket here? Any which way. But, you know, I just wanted to say that because I think it's something that you got to understand. You know, waste your time. You've empowered people to waste your time in life. And sometimes you just got to not care what other people think and move forward with something that you feel or that you're working towards. I don't equate or try to confuse an idea with the process. Okay, that's one of the bigger problems, is that a lot of people have great ideas, but they don't have a process to make that idea become an outcome. A lot of people sit here and think ideas equate to outcomes, and they're not. And once you challenge them on it, you know, I do that with my wife all the time. You know, I think this. Okay, great. Show me a plan. Show me the numbers. Show me the math. Show me how it works, and I'll buy in. That, if you are stopping there and you reply with, well, you just never let me do what you want, but what I want to do. No. Again, I don't go by that, because what I need is a process or something that's laid out that I can say, great, good, go, or this needs to be improved. And here's how we can improve it. I'm not looking for the perfect plan. What I'm looking for is a process. Can you come up with one? Can you show me math, numbers, statistics that can support your claims? But a lot of time people don't want to do that because, again, they're invested in ideas, not outcomes. Maybe that's the title for another day. You got a lot of people like that. They're not going to work towards ideas. They come up with them. And you cannot live by a person who has ideas but does not have a history of making outcomes happen. And you'll know when you meet these people, when they're giving you more ideas about something you're doing than they're doing in their own damn life. That's the key indicator you're dealing with an idea-based person, not an outcome-based person. Any which way, folks, that's my 30 minutes driving on the road with Uncle Phil. Hope people on the East Coast are having, you know, they're doing great, getting almost closing out your day. On the West Coast, it's almost lunch. We're about to have lunch, so take care, folks. And I hope, think about that, you know. Comment in the chat below. Let me know what you think. You agree? People out there wasting your time. Most people will waste your time, folks. Make sure, folks, you hit me up on Venmo, Ancestry Lands, on Cash App, $ Ancestry Lands with an S. Like, share, subscribe, folks. Thanks for listening.